Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome to another video, and today I want to do something a little fun, and I want to give every recon legend a buff. I think that the recon legends have been really overlooked, and I think they're definitely the weakest of all of the classes right now, just due to how their perks aren't really anything astronomical. Sure, having a survey beacon is really good, but considering you can have that on both Alter and Pathfinder, not really worth going a recon over a support or a controller even. Especially not over an assault or a skirmisher in the current meta, at least. Let's start with Bloodhound, and I think Bloodhound is kind of lacking recently. I think he has kind of been falling recently from, his, he's a classic, he's an easy legend to pick up, but, there's just no point in picking him up, right? Like, he's a really easy one for a new player, but no point in really picking him up, especially over, like, I'd say even Vantage is a better pick over Bloodhound, and maybe even Crypto to a specific, depending on what, if you're playing competitive, ranked, whatnot, but Bloodhound just doesn't really offer as much as he did before. So for Bloodhound, honestly, I think his tactical is just fine. I think his ult could use a little bit of work, but I want to mainly look at the passive here. Now, passive has two parts to it. If you need just a refresher, he has the part of his passive which has the white raven that you can scan or interact with, and it'll ping the general area, the general direction of where the nearest enemy team is. And then you also have the second part of his passive, the main part, which is the little tracking pings that you can see on the ground from recent fights, recent abilities being used. Enemy was around here recently, you know what I mean, y'all know what I mean. So, and I'd want to buff both parts of his passive, and firstly I would buff the Raven by making it just ping enemies on the map after it pings the general location for like a little bit, right? So like, however long the ping usually lasts with the Raven, I would just make it ping the actual enemies instead, kind of like how Ash's old passive used to do, or how the survey beacons do currently, just so that it's more direct, because a lot of the times whenever you use the White Raven now as Bloodhound, it just kind of shows like, I don't know, it's really inaccurate, and by the time that enemy team leaves that area, you're not really gonna catch up to them. So I feel like you just need to buff it and show on the map the little enemy icons like it usually does with Ash's passive, or it did with Ash's passive, and it does with Survey Beacon. Then when it comes to Bloodhound's, the other half of Bloodhound's passive, I would just do a simple change, and I would give him a speed boost when he's tracking enemies on the trail. I know we have a lot of speed boost type buffs recently in the game, and that's definitely, I definitely want to watch out with how many they have in game. Conduit type boosts I know we have a lot of, especially with Alter and the skirmishers in general. Speed boost buffs have just been really frequently appearing right now in Apex, and I don't want to give too many out, but I think Bloodhound having that speed boost would be so beneficial to not only himself but to his team, because I mean, most legends have movements, they'd be able to keep up with the Bloodhound anyways, and just having Bloodhound, just as he follows the trail of enemies, the little marks, it would give much more incentive for a Bloodhound player to actually want to follow that trail, because usually it's like, okay, well, there's no point because you're just going to run into them unexpectedly. But if he gets some kind of speed boost, you're going to be able to keep up with them, and you're going to stay consistent on the trail. I feel like it's a really good option, and I don't know. Like I said, it would just be like a conduit type speed boost. I know we've been seeing a lot of speed boosts recently in the game, but I think that this would honestly be very helpful, and I think it would just help him. Nothing too big though, because the recon legends are kind of hard to balance, because when it comes to wall scans and stuff like that, you don't want wall hacks essentially to just be meta, so I wouldn't want to give Bloodhound really anything with his tactical. I think it's dangerous to kind of mess with the tactical, or really mess with any of his abilities any more than I did here. Alright, next up let's talk about Crypto, and Crypto's also a pretty dangerous one, because he's only, honestly, I don't think they've touched Crypto in a while. I think the last time they even looked at Crypto was when they nerfed his invisibility perk. Now, I don't want to buff that invisibility perk back, because that's really the factor that could make him really good again, but it was just super annoying to try and find a Crypto that was right in front of you, but he was invisible the entire time with no indicator. So I don't want to touch that at all. I think where Crypto really struggles right now, honestly, is that his playstyle is really slow and really background almost. For example, you know, if you're playing Bloodhound, Seer, even Vantage, all of the scans are just really like, you know what I mean? You don't have to pause your game, essentially, to be able to get the information that, you know, is going to help your team out. So when it comes to Crypto, I think that he just really needs a more efficient way to use his drone, you know what I mean? Because as of right now, it just really requires for him to pause his game, essentially. The way that I would do this to help him is I would just simply buff his drone and make it to where he can use his tactical and move his drone without having to be inside of it. Now that sounds kind of strange, and you know, it would have to be kind of a strange bind. Honestly, I would just make it into like just pressing the tactical, and you would have to hold it to get in no matter what, which might be a bad thing, but I feel like you could switch those around. Either way though, I think it'd be so awesome if you could, like, you know, just press your tactical button once and then move the drone around after it's out. I think that would just be so helpful, and honestly, like I said, it would make it to where Crypto doesn't have to slow down his game much more in order to actually, you know, get the information that his drone can provide. I think it'd also be really cool and useful if Crypto could, you know, make his drone move to things like survey beacons and his teammates' banners, respawn beacons, and it would automatically, you know, do whatever action that can be done at that specific thing for him. So, you know, and it would take like it would take the easiest route, you know what I mean? So it would automatically go around. Honestly, I don't even know if that's possible for, you know, Apex to make that a thing that the drone can do, but y'all get what I mean. I think it would just be really cool if you can move around your drone without actually having to be inside of the drone, or without having to put it away and then use it again. I think that'd be really awesome. Also, I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but when you're aiming at a wall with Crypto, and you don't have his drone currently out, an area around your reticle will actually glow a greenish type color if it's going to hit a wall. If your drone's going to hit a wall, the wall that you're looking at, if it's going to hit the surface that you're looking at. And I think that's kind of strange because it doesn't really do much. It's not like a Pathfinder grapple where you are required to hit a wall. So it doesn't really make all that much sense to me, but it kind of gives me an idea for another buff that we could kind of get from just a small one. And I would say just make it to where if the, you know, if that green circle is there and your drone is attached to a wall or any surface like that, it gets bonus health. Like, I don't know, like maybe 25 bonus health. I just think that'd be really awesome, and it would kind of make it seem like a security camera more of, which is just kind of funny because that's kind of what it's supposed to be, obviously. So I would kind of just, you know what I mean? Give it bonus health for, you know, sticking to walls or any surface like that. I'm not sure that this would move Crypto completely up, but I think it would give him more value, and just his drone would be more useful instead of just going out to grab banners and scanning stuff and being out for 1 second before getting destroyed. Okay, now when it comes to Valk, this is actually a really interesting one because Valk doesn't really need a buff at the moment, I would say, but I would say she definitely is lacking compared to the Skirmisher class, because Valk is kind of the Skirmisher recon. She's kind of the recon you pick when you want rotation, movement, as well as the recon perks, but yeah, she kind of lacks in comparison to the other Skirmishers, even though she isn't a Skirmisher. Y'all know what I mean. There's no really point in picking Valk when you can go alter and get free portal scans and stuff like that, plus better movement. Now there's a simple buff we could give Valk, and that would just be to move her back to the Skirmisher class, but that's boring, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I actually like Valk in the recon class. I think it just makes more sense. So instead of just moving her class, let's make it a little bit more interesting. The buff that I would give Valk is just maybe something a little bit more simple, and what I would do with Valk to buff her is I would remove the perk that changes her formation of her tactical missiles. I think that's really random, and I don't think anyone honestly uses that. If you do, well, I'm sorry, but I feel like not many people use it, and to me personally, as someone who played Valk way earlier when she was like the meta, or at least much stronger when she had the really high ult, I don't see any reason to pick the missile formation changes over the higher ult. But, you know, if you do pick that one, please continue to do so. But I would remove that one if I were to buff Valk, and in place, I would honestly, I have to think about that, but I think honestly for a replacement perk, I would still try and change the tactical, but I would also lean a little bit more into her recon side of things, and I would say I would just simply make a perk where if you select it, then her tactical will scan enemies that it hits, or in the area actually. Anyone within the area will get hit, like that little box will get hit, or maybe even a little outside of that area that it hits, they would be scanned for a little bit of time. I just think it's important that since she is in the recon class, she still has, you know, more recon ability, and I really think that that would help, giving her a perk as such. And it wouldn't be anything too crazy. I don't think giving her an extra scan would be too bad, so that's what I would do for Valk. Alright, we made it to Seer. Seer is a tricky one. I think we all know Seer is a really tricky one. Honestly, I think Seer needs just an entire rework rather than a buff at all, because whenever they buff Seer, he ends up becoming too strong, and then they have to nerf him, and then whenever they nerf him, he becomes too weak. So I think a full rework is in order for Seer, honestly, but we're not doing that right now. I would honestly just recommend, you know, completely reworking him, but if I had to give him a buff here, at least any buff right here, I would say I would just make it to where his scan cancels revives again. I think with, you know, especially since last season with all the lifeline players, and I think I see honestly still quite a few lifeline players, as well as with all of the, you know, altar having the support perk. I feel like, I mean, as someone who likes playing altar myself, this would obviously be bad towards myself, but I think just having Seer being able to cancel those revives again would be good. Just to clean it up and make sure that it's not like a constant revive mania anymore. In my opinion, I just don't think that Seer's abilities work in this game. I don't even think the concept is a good idea. I think they just need to completely rework his kit. I mean, maybe not, don't even make him a recon again if you don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, they can do anything with that. I mean, I just feel like the whole concept that he has here is just not worth keeping in the game anymore. They need to completely rework his abilities, his kit, what it's supposed to do. Alright, final recon legend is Vantage, and I'm a huge Vantage player. I love playing Vantage, and honestly, I don't think she really needs all that much of a buff, but I think she could use a couple more adjustments to really make her really good, because I like when legends get their time to shine, and I don't think we've seen Vantage have her time to shine yet, and I would definitely love to see a Vantage buff. Alright, the first thing I would give to Vantage as a buff is this may be a little broken, but I would remove the perk that she has where when she hits a shot with her sniper, it recharges her tactical cooldown. Instead, I would replace it with a perk that whenever Vantage hits a sniper shot, ready? Whenever Vantage hits a shot with her sniper, she gets that sniper ammo loaded back into her sniper. Yeah, I feel like that might be a little busted at times if you're really good at hitting your shots, but y'all have to listen to me on that one. It's a level 3 perk anyways, I believe, so if that was a level 3 perk, that's what I would do. I would replace, I would replace that other perk with this one, so every time she hits a shot with that sniper, she gets a shot back in her sniper. Essentially, you know, so you're not wasting any ammo at all. You're keeping your ammo if you hit a shot, is what that is. I would also make Vantage's tactical have way faster time to use. I feel like we've been seeing a little bit what happens when you decrease the time that it takes to activate and, you know, finish using an ability, like Loba's Bracelet was one of the big ones. And it makes a legend so much more fun, honestly, and I feel like Vantage should get the same treatment, in all honesty. Make her tactical just so much faster to use, like the time that it takes for her to, you know, hit her wristwatch thing that she has on and to put Echo out. Just make it way faster. Make it way faster. And then also the perk where Vantage's double jump after she uses her tactical is improved. I don't really know exactly what it does, but it says improved. I would just make it to where that's in her base kit. It's baked into the base kit. So whenever she uses her tactical, it would automatically have the improved jump. And to replace that perk, I would give her a perk where every time she uses her tactical, the entire area of where she, you know, of where her bat is, gets like scanned. Like almost like a mini survey beacon, so everyone around that area where her bat is, when she jumps, will be scanned.
Echo's picked a sweet angle. Moving.
I think that this would necessarily be really good when you want to push a team as Vantage, not for like repositioning, you know, from a fight, but when you're pushing into a team, that scan I think would really come in handy, and I think we see that with Alter's portal buff with the scan that she got this season, and I would love to see that for Vantage as well with her tactical. And that's going to be it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment, any of the such. Really truly does help the channel. I appreciate it. I truly do. I'm grateful for all the support that I get on the channel. Trying to grow this channel, feel free to support. If you want to see more videos like this, please let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to share to your friends. And finally, let me know what you think of my ideas in here. These are just some concepts that I have. I love concepts for Apex. I love trying to come up with my own personal ideas. So let me know, do you guys think these are balanced? Do you guys think these are not strong enough for these legends? Do you guys think they're too strong? I think the Vantage one might get a lot of you guys, but let me know your personal thoughts on my concepts that I have listed here. I've personally been really enjoying Alter with the skirmisher buffs and all her new changes. She's just such a blast to play, and I'm so glad that she's finally getting the attention that she deserves. If you didn't see my video, I did make a video playing her, just some gameplay playing her in ranked. So go check out it if you haven't, and that's going to be all for today. Jesus loves you all. See you in the next one. Bye.